That was snarky.
So anyway, I probably thank you in advance for giving me your time and carving out a window of opportunity to speak with you. But you were actually, the purpose of this one-on-one is to talk a little bit about the tech enhancement program application that the city of Columbus has said, here, we're going to grant you $2,200. And how often does that happen?
I know it.
So that's really the goal of these one-on-one conversations. So you were actually the only one after I presented it, and I can't remember if it was in the October or the September meeting. It was one of those meetings that I actually had it on the agenda and spoke about it. You were the only one who responded. So I should have given you a free pass just to kind of say, this is a one-on-one request from everybody but you. But I thought maybe it might just give us a chance to chat one-on-one and talk a little bit about, if there are any changes since your email or since you spoke about it. Maybe your thoughts and opinions have changed in the last 30 or 60 days. And I thought I might give you an opportunity to speak about it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you want me to start like with the questions or just about the money?
Well, do you want me to bring up the application so that it's fresh in your mind?
I've written out my answers just so I was prepared.
Okay.
And there have been a couple changes since I did that.
Okay.
I've had 3 list serves. One kind of went by the wayside a long time ago, and the other one is a Yahoo group. And that, of course, is a problem because Yahoo is going to get rid of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so just recently, I emailed all in the Yahoo group, and I've started a Google group.
Okay.
I haven't had a huge response to that. I'm going to send out another response or another reminder of that because I think it's December 15th. They're going to stop that. And then I also have a group of people that I just blind copy on emails. Which is how they wanted me to do it. Well, I guess there wasn't exactly listserv. I have a Clintonville District 3 listserv, and that's the
right.
group. And I inherited that one from, I don't know how long it's been in existence. Definitely inherited from Blazer, but it might have even been Claire Blomben before that.
Okay.
And then I also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think that, I think since we're already kind of ahead in the conversation because you sent to me an email and you did speak out about it in the meeting, I think since we're already sort of ahead in the conversation, I am going to recap with you what has been expressed by some of the other chairs, committee chairs, and other commissioners.
Okay.
It seems to me like everybody's kind of on the same page. I know that a lot of people feel very strongly about having the projector and projector screen.
Okay.
Because what that does is it helps us be a little bit more self-sufficient with regard to, and there have been times where you as chair have had to find bigger venues for us to have our meetings, like
right.
Around, you wanted to have not a rain garden specific meeting, but wanted to have rain garden discussion. That was the prevailing topic in a routine CAC meeting. And that library community meeting room was just not going to foster that environment. And so we had to scramble and kind of find, upon my suggestion, the Clintonville Women's Club, where, and I think that there will be times like that. Because
we also used the Lutheran church that's no longer up on Morse Road.
Right.
That was for, I think when the Ave was going in.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think what this does is that it allows us to have a little bit more self-sufficiency so that we're not always relying upon that room. And there have been times where it's been booked out from under us.
Right.
We've had to kind of find, and that was, one or two times that we've used Gethsemane. So I think that with all that being said, is that once we resume in-person meetings again, and it could be that we might even be, I know Ryan Foshi with Green Spot said,
Mhm.
we might be able to have our Green Spot meetings at the Whetstone Shelter House. And this would allow us to have presentations and
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of thing. So, I'm really valuing the input, and I'm glad that I'm including the committee chairs in on this conversation,
Yeah.
because I don't think that Ryan was really fully knowledgeable as to the media outlets and the current technology processes that we have.
Hmm.
So just kind of exchanging these ideas and hearing his needs, I was kind of able to enlighten him to say, hey, you know, did you know that you could lean on the tech and PR committee to cross post and do things, even though you kind of have your own thing going. But since you are a standing committee, you can post things on our website, and you can use our Zoom meeting room, and you can, so I think it was kind of and he's new at it too, Liz.
Oh, yeah, and they needed to get up to speed with you, so I'm
Yeah.
glad.
So
There,
if
I mean, and there was just so much. Well, when we first started, the committee, I wasn't even sure where we were going with it, and most of our meetings for that were at the rec center in the little
Yep.
stupid library room.
Yeah. Well, and I think that having this technology in place,
Hmm.
while it may not be a perceived need on the bell curve of what area commissions need across the city, it does give us this opportunity to be self-sufficient and interdependent and interreliant, so that we don't always have to, you know, lean on the library. And, me, having my meetings at Gethsemane, I have an overhead projector. Um,
Hmm.
so that's always been helpful. But in times like this, what I was surprised that is not being offered, and this is a concern that David Votero brought up, is that there's no way. He's like, I'm really surprised that with the Area Commission Technology Enhancement Program, that the option does not exist for a webcam and a microphone. So with
Ah,
virtual meetings, you know, it seems to be that if we were to carry this forward and set ourselves up with this technology, how could we continue to use this technology for community engagement for those who maybe, once we resume in-person meetings, for those who choose to continue to watch from their living rooms?
right. I mean, they do that for council.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So he said, we might even want to, whenever that time comes, we might want to ask the CAC to write in the budget a purchase for a webcam and a microphone.
Yeah, and those aren't really
No,
expensive. That those would fit in our budget very well.
yeah. And it's like, and I was even kind of looking at like, and I'll speak to something that I know about. Now, the projector that I purchased was for real estate seminars,
Hmm.
real estate appointments. And so it's being used pro bono by the commission during meetings as needed. Um, but I use it also for my family film Fridays in the park, and it works just fine.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
But I didn't pay. BJ White did not pay $1,047 for her projector.
Right.
I paid, it was in the $400 range
Okay.
for mine. Um, and the replacement bulb, um, I think cost, I want to say $80 to $90. I can't
Yeah.
say for sure, but
Okay.
that's you know, just one replacement bulb for a $400 projector, that is the priciest item.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at this projector, and it must be a pretty sophisticated projector kit, it includes the HDMI cable and the power strip, but I'm thinking, I wonder what the replacement bulb for that daddy, you know, would.
Yeah.
And so that's not something, they're not going to make reparations. They're not going to do any kind of maintenance costs. They're not going to buy replacement bulbs. So that's something that we have to plan for in our upcoming budget that currently is not in our budget. So we just have to be cognizant of that. And when whoever the treasurer is next year presents their budget proposal, or we might want to give input to say, okay, I think we need to make X amount of dollars for, you know, the purpose of replacement bulbs for the projector that we've been awarded, if that's one of the items that we've been awarded. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Because, and you should always have one on hand anyhow. So even when we first get it, we should put that in the budget and get it right away, because you never know when one of those things is going to break.
Exactly. And so that's one of the things that I thought, well, you know, I'm still going to have one-on-ones with Libby, because this is something that I want her to keep in mind. So having this discussion, I want you to bank that knowledge and bank this conversation for when that proposed budget comes up for whoever the chair or whoever the treasurer is next year.
Right.
So, the screen, I also have a screen, and it's like a vinyl, it looks like a vinyl tarp, and it's got grommets in it, and I use zip ties to fasten to the backstop of the baseball diamond. And it's really good quality. It's not flimsy. It withstands winds. And I think I paid it was around $100 price tag for that. So the portable projector screen, I'm sure, is a retractable,
Yeah.
an aluminum pedestal or something like that.
Right.
It's 600. So I mean, the cost that they're telling us for these items is probably for very sophisticated, good quality equipment. So I don't see where we could really benefit from having the monitors. I mean, I have dual monitors. I have my laptop, and then I have my I think it's a 24-inch monitor. Probably what they're advertising, but I don't see any benefit to having those. Chair Hardwick of the Zoning and Variance Committee mentioned that he might see the value in having a laptop. And the reasons he cited that was for having universal storage of documents and that kind of thing. Well, my thing is that even if we did have that laptop, we would use some type of backup cloud storage for that. If anything, we should probably discuss as a commission within the commission's budget some type of cloud storage for, and I think our website actually does that, since we have documents tabs, and I think but I think for the purpose he cited, I would say, well, spending $839 for a laptop, and kind of sharing the stewardship of the laptop, I can see why he would say that, but I think for the purpose of standardization and archival of document storage, I would say that a subscription to a cloud storage online probably would be a better.
Yeah, well, and all of our documents that are official are sent downtown anyhow. Now, they aren't easy to get at once they're sent down there, but I mean, there is a spot where those are all archived.
And but with the maintenance of our website, we keep a lot of our official
Yeah,
documents on the website
absolutely.
too. And then Brittany and Brian have both stepped up to be our website representative for our commission.
Uh-huh. I was glad they did.
And in discussions with the
Mhm.
city about some type of universal or standardized website for the area commissions. So I've put it in their care, and I'm just kind of stepping back and allowing them to do that because I trust them. So
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
not?
And, that's something I was pushing for about 5 years ago and talked with people down at the city, and it's taken them this long to figure out that, yeah, this might be a good idea. And it's not because necessarily we need it, but all of the commissions need to be on the same uh, platform, I think.
Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but do you remember when you and David Votero and I went to that hearing that was held by Councilmember Dorans on the area commissions, like the structural changes that they,
Oh, right.
you
Mm-hmm,
remember that?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And even though all those changes that they made did not directly affect us as a commission, they were essentially bringing the other commissions up to the standard of us,
Yeah.
our electoral process and other things.
And we're, I mean, the city recommends us, frequently for newer commissions and things to talk with us and see what we're doing.
Oh yeah, I've helped three or four.
Yeah.
I don't think the fourth one ever came to fruition, but I've helped three other area commissions, guided them through the Zoom meeting process.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so when and I remember so Kari had actually gone to that meeting, and she sat in the back in the gallery area. And when I got up to speak in support of this, and this, and wanted to talk a little bit about the concerns, and I know why they did. I know why they did that, but apparently there was some other. I think I know who it is, but I wouldn't feel comfortable saying. But there was another commission, another area commission's chair, who had a spiral bound notebook, who wrote with a big marker or Sharpie pen, affluence,
Oh, okay.
and held it up
Yeah.
so that everybody could see when I was up there talking. And I would have never known that
Right.
had Kari not been back there. You
Mm-hmm.
see that?
No, I didn't, but yes, but
David
that,
saw, David saw it from where he was sitting.
oh, okay.
I think she was sitting more in line with us because we were kind of in the same row.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
David was sitting back a little bit further. But the thing that I'm always most careful about, and whether we want to be talking about the mayor's equity agenda or
Mm-hmm.
anything like this, I don't ever want to be perceived and be made a target of affluence.
Yeah.
I mean, so when we're talking about these things, I just, I'm like, do we need them? Probably not. We're probably better off than most. But could it help us in the future? I mean, who's to say how long this COVID thing is going to last?
Mm-hmm.
Could it help us be a little bit more self-reliant and not fully depend on that community meeting room?
Exactly.
And if we ever did need to find an alternate location, we have to also bear in mind those locations can't be the basements of churches. They must be ADA accessible.
Right. Right.
And we have to gear ourselves up. And so the way that I'm looking at it is, we've got to become more self-sufficient if we were to have to scramble and find an alternate location and be able to have this technology readily available.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I wish we could get Charity Newsies to cooperate with us. I think that would be a great spot.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they only use it like 2 or 3 months a year. And they have a great meeting room.
Well, did you know where I had the last parking task force meeting? And this was, I can't remember if it was in January, February of this
Oh,
year.
I remember it was one I couldn't get. Oh yeah, you had it at the Ave, didn't you?
Yeah, I had
Yeah, I was sorry I couldn't get to that one.
and it was awesome. Great. I mean, it was well attended. We had like 8 people show up to that one, and it was a really cool meeting place.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
anyway, but I think this is a good thing, and I'm gonna try my best not to fear being labeled affluent, because I think this is a good thing, and I think that it feeds right into the equity agenda, and I think that I think we'll be able to make good use of it all. I do want to, I do want to say something to the effect how this might leverage us, because if COVID-19 protocol has taught me anything, and I was the first area commission chair to meet with the city attorney, and it was because I asked for a meeting because I didn't want to miss a meeting.
Right.
In that first meeting, we didn't miss a beat. We had it a week later in March because
Hmm.
it was like the day or two before our March meeting is when they came down
Right.
with the, the stay-at-home order, yada,
Hmm.
yada. So, we kind of had to scramble, and I was like, well, we've got zoning and variance, got a guy walking down the street with packages.
Oh.
I just want to make sure he was legit. I just want to make sure he's with UPS.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that terrible that I think like that?
I know. I know.
Um, so, and with like all these things that Amazon is doing with subcontracting out, they're in like, U-Haul vans and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's gonna get worse for
you
Christmas.
have to be very, very sure.
Mhm.
But I was thinking, you know, how COVID-19 really has imposed the burden of optimal transparency.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we're more transparent now than we ever have been before.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything's recorded, everything's archived. There is nothing that says that we even have to post an agenda for our public meetings. It just says we have to advertise our public meetings,
Mhm.
time and place. Well, now we have to make our agenda readily available, even though you always did.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but now we have to make that agenda known 48 hours before a meeting. And so right now, I just feel like even without this technology grant, we've kind of done it on our, at those instructions, we've made ourselves, we've had that imposition of the COVID-19 protocol to be more transparent
Mhm.
than ever before. But I have to say that the optimized transparency doesn't correlate to community engagement.
Oh, probably not. I mean, how many people do we have attend those meetings? And then, the other thing that this has caused, I mean, if we all, speaking of affluence, have equipment, and we all have the Wi-Fi and everything. But you go to other communities where we know that the Wi-Fi is not as available, and and some of the people on those commissions can't afford the Wi-Fi, or they aren't uh, good with computer stuff. So there is a huge difference in that. And is that requiring that anybody who joins a commission has to be computer savvy?
Well, it's what's, these are people who have open seats
Yep.
year after year. They can't fill seats at their commission.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it makes me very empathetic towards them. And I wish that, I wish I could go and help them,
Yeah.
you know, but I, that's why I think this will in large part help everybody. But I just really don't know. I wish that I could, the booster, I'm, if you've ever, are you getting the booster or not?
Yeah, no, I get the booster.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many articles Clintonville related have you seen the last year?
It keeps getting worse and
It,
worse, less
there,
and less.
I mean, I open it up, I read things about Westerville,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Boulton, I even Powell.
I know it. I know. Yeah. And stuff that's already been in the dispatch.
Yeah. And I just don't even know. We've had 4 writers since Kevin Parks retired. We've had 4 different writers assigned to us. And now, yeah, the person who's actually in charge of the This Week Booster,
Mm-hmm.
who we kept complaining to,
Uh-huh.
getting improved booster delivery,
Right.
he's no longer there.
Ah.
I don't even know what's going on with the booster. The spotlight, believe it or not, I post everything whenever I have agendas or post a meeting or anything like that about the CAC. I send everything to Cliff Wiltshire, and I think his is a subscription based and advertisement based.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know that he's doing that well in this environment, because he would be relying upon a lot of business advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I haven't heard anything from him. And I live half a mile from the cliff, and he lives on West Canal, and I haven't heard not word one from him. I heard from Nancy Kuhl back during the May or June maybe, and I just I haven't heard anything from them, and
Oh.
I don't know. We're putting everything out there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we can, you know, Ann Heckner said this in her one-on-one, and she said, BJ, I don't know. We're putting everything out there. We make everything known. We post things on the calendar, we post things on the website, we share it on our social medias. I don't know, other than standing out on High Street and tripping people to bring it to their attention, how do we do it?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to engage the community using technology or anything. I don't know how to better do that. Everything that can be done, we are doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that the only time that people want to engage us, the only time that people show up to a meeting is when they want to complain about something.
Right. And, I mean, we had this with the rain garden where, we said we advertised in the booster and they go, I don't read the booster. And then we had several articles in the dispatch. Oh, I don't get the dispatch. And we sent, the city sent mail notices to your houses. Oh, I throw that stuff away. And so there is just so much you can do. I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, handbills that you deliver to each house, a lot of people just don't even look at them and put them directly in the garbage and are upset that they're getting those. So,
yeah, I have neighbors who are snowbirds who go to Florida for the wintertime.
mm-hmm.
And the one lady, bless her heart, no relation. She lives catty cornered across the street from me. I'm looking at her house right now. Her name's Jenny White, no relation. She is 97 years old.
Jeez.
She still golfed up until like 10 years ago. She was still going golfing and everything. She's an amazing person. She still goes out, trims her hedges, weed whacks. She doesn't mow her grass and she doesn't rake her leaves, but all the other little things she'll do. And I tell her she's just too tight to pay anybody. But she likes the little activity. But she still went to Florida, even with the COVID boom down there.
Oh, yeah.
But like this year, she had, a lot of my neighbors had painted on the bottom of their driveway, because when you call the booster and you ask for no delivery, they come out and paint no paper on the bottom of the driveway.
Oh, okay.
So I've got many of my neighbors who have done that because they're snowbirds and they don't want the papers piling up on their driveway.
Right.
So anyway, you know, Brittany's just now arrived for her one-on-one. But I just don't know how better we can do this within the $2,200 tech
Mhm.
grant and the $2,500 annual budget that we're receiving. You can't make a person care.
Right.
You can't make them be proactive before the problem. You just have to wait for the problem and
Mhm.
wait for them to get, you know, I just don't know how you glean that type of engagement, that kind of enthusiasm. I just don't know how you do it.
It's tough. Like that blind copy list I have is left over from my first time of campaigning. And I did put notes on everybody's door east of Indianola, you know, and told them that, you know, they could contact me and I could, you know, and that's where that list is left over from.
Wow. Well, you don't have a lot of turnover in your neighborhood either, so.
Well, it varies, yeah.
Yeah.
Some places have more turnover than others, but yeah.
Well, you want to say hi to Brittany as I bring her in?
Sure. Hey, Brittany.
How are you guys?
Good.
We were just wrapping up, and Libby said she wanted me to go ahead and let you in as we were wrapping up and saying our goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you outside of the
I
big
know
group
it.
format.
I know. And don't forget the Santa drive-by.
We're going. We're
Yay.
coming. Kids are pumped.
Good.
Wouldn't miss. I mean, it's so close. It's right down the street from our house.
I know. Well, and we're
Perfect.
excited too because we have done nothing because we can't do anything.
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys should get a really good attendance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would hope you guys will have a really good attendance. People are so cooped up right now.
I know.
I mean, even more so than a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, and we're having a little mini bazaar tomorrow and Saturday. And we'll keep, you know, only 10 people in there and take temperatures and have masks. But
that's a lot to manage, though.
Well, it was just stuff that several members had made in anticipation of us having a regular bazaar, which I couldn't find a chairman for anyhow, and it wouldn't have happened. So
yeah.
So they said, can we have this? And we were going to have our meeting tomorrow and everything. And of course, none of that's happening. So.
Well, I hope you have a good, safe, healthy, happy turnout.
Well, it was nice seeing you, Libby. I'm so glad that I still had my one-on-one with you, even though you'd already given me your input. I'm very happy. So, and if you want,
thing, right?
You're breaking up on me. I couldn't hear you.
I'm unstable again. Okay. Are you coming to the deer?
At 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. See ya.
All right. If you want my rendition of Lemon Tree, I'm happy to bring my guitar down and play it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm excited to hear about the deer session.
You know, I've had, to me, it's kind of a tired topic with me because that's something that I've addressed in my district.
Yeah.
But it's the other side of the coin. It's like, so when they first, people like the deer here. people take pictures and videos.
Yeah.
It's the same thing because they're beautiful creatures. But you know, we like them here, and they don't bother anybody here. They don't eat my hostas. I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night one night to get a glass of water. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I got my jammies on, and I had gone to bed before Kari, and I'm not sure if she's watching something on TV or working on her laptop. I'm not sure, but she's very lax when she's the last one to come to bed. She'll set the house alarm and turn out lights and that kind of thing, but she won't always close. We've got these leveler blinds on the front,
yeah.
You know, and she doesn't always close them. I'd come down, And it must have been a clear night, or the moon was out or something. It was just a really pretty, like, just sky, moonlight and everything. She left the blinds open. As I approached the blinds in my jammies, which is just an oversized t-shirt and boxer shorts. That's, I mean, nothing Victoria's Secret here. I mean, it's men's Hanes underwear here. But so as I started to approach, I see the reflection of eyes in my,
Oh my God.
and it's this buck.
Thank God.
It's this buck that's standing at my front window, and I have a brick house, and he's you know, his aunt
Oh my gosh.
on my brick house, and I'm like, and and it took me a minute, you know, because you're like panicked, and you're like, you know, I looked over the keypad, the alarm system was on and everything. I was just like, I just kind of went through that whole checklist, and I was like, oh my God, it was scary. It was.
I would have screamed for sure. I haven't gotten that close to one, but they have been frequent flyers in our garden, and they do like the hostas and the tomatoes and everything.
Well, so my mom, when I redid my landscape, my mom dug up, she split all of her hostas at her house. I didn't have to spend a dime on hardly anything in my landscape. But she split her hostas and she brought them back. She brought all these hostas up in like bags and cardboard boxes in the trunk of her car one day. And we just, you know, planted them. And they're just variegated, you know, hostas, nothing fancy. Yeah. They're, you know, small size. And the deer don't touch them. They're beautiful. I just deadheaded them yesterday so I can get them out for today. But they don't bother mine.
Great.
I mean, I feel very lucky. I don't know why. I think I'm just lucky. I planted the when the Green Spot had the tree planting extravaganza. I have 2 of the redwoods that I planted in my backyard. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is. They come around in my backyard. I mean,
and they're just leaving it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not putting any kind of deer repellent on them or anything like that. I don't know. Just some they prefer, some they don't. I just don't know why. I'm just, I guess. But yeah. So anyway, first of all, I want to thank you for meeting with me in the one-on-one. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Your prelude to this meeting in the context of your email, and thank you for just caring enough to be here. And I just want to say that the one-on-ones are being recorded.
Okay.
We're not live on Facebook. We're not live. We're not going to publish it on YouTube. However, I am going to retain it. Just because if ever you or I were questioned as to the integrity of the topic of conversation, we want to make sure to have this on record. So,
absolutely. Makes sense.
Okay. So, but I first want to talk, before I get into your email and everything, I want to talk to you a little bit about do you now have clarification on the city's web thing?
Yeah, I think we're all right. And I didn't mean to make it sound like somebody needed to not be involved, whether Ty or Brian. I think they will only give us 2 login accounts for the WordPress. So that's why I'm trying to just figure out who among us. I already have one. I'm already within it, so I'm happy to maintain it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Ty sounded willing, since he's familiar with WordPress, to also have those capabilities. And I haven't heard from Brian. So I think we're great. I don't even think that Ty necessarily needs to attend a training, since he is so WordPress savvy, unless he wanted to talk to the person who's running it. I actually know his name's Matthew Adair. He's with NVG, some consulting firm that does some stuff with the city's urban planning.
Okay.
And he's great, and I'm sure he would answer questions offline as well.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure, and I appreciate you copying me to the email, and I that I wasn't being remiss, but I didn't see anything actionable for me to respond to or.
No,
Okay,
nope,
I appreciate you keeping me in the loop, but if,
yeah,
but there are a lot of things that I get that are, you know, as a matter of fact, just keeping you in the loop, Chair. So,
yeah,
but if ever I get something and I miss something that's actionable, feel free to nudge me.
okay,
I feel like, but I
yeah.
don't want to be remiss about that.
No, there was nothing. It was a keep you in the loop thing, so.
All right. So are you on board with being one of the two people in your,
Totally,
okay. All right.
yeah,
And it sounds to me like you are working in concert with Brian and Ty, and that you guys will just work that out between
yep,
yourselves. Okay,
yep,
great. All right. Is there anything that I need to do with?
nope.
Okay.
No, we're in great shape. As things progress, I might just give updates to the group even once more content's uploaded. And I asked Toya from Department of Neighborhoods, it sounded like it's going to be at least a year until they expect all the commissions to be fully transitioned on. And we are obviously very, very present and active online. So there's no concern about our constituents not seeing information. So I
Okay.
think we're in great shape.
Okay, great. And then where did my window go? Hold on. I'm losing my browser. Hold on. Okay, all right. So I have your email up, and I have the application up, and I want to talk a little bit about, I mean, you just speak so optimistically and positively about everything. But since you did respond to this email 10 days ago, I want to know, have there been any changes or any variances of those opinions that you shared with me?
I don't think so. I'm rereading it too. I think a lot of what I suggested was around maybe training to better use some of our existing platforms or even my own personal platforms rather than actual, hardware. I'm looking at the application again. So I don't know if these are even appropriate necessarily, or if they're thinking at the city more along the lines of, well, they do say to promote the use of social media, websites, and other forms. So yeah, I don't think I have any updates to what I wrote. It's all still pretty current.
Okay. So what I want to make sure that every commissioner and every chair already knows this, because I communicated this back when I created the Zoom account back in March. I want to make sure that every commissioner knows that the Zoom account that I set up is a subscription account it's under the auspices of the CAC, and you are privy to schedule meetings or whatever, if you want to do community
Okay.
office hours, anything like that.
Awesome.
Here would be my ask. My ask would be that since it is one account right now, and I set it up, and the account settings are billing my personal credit card information. And you can ask any of the committee chairs this. So what I do is I schedule whenever you want to have your community office hours, or if there's a constituent, say you wanted to meet with your constituency about deer, and you had a handful of neighbors that wanted to meet with you, and you just wanted to schedule time on the Zoom.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do that using the CAC Zoom account.
Awesome.
And I want to make sure that that is readily available to you. And I think that's the benefit of having one-on-one conversations, is that sometimes there's not always time in a CAC meeting to say, Commissioner Boulton, what do you need? Tell me.
Yeah.
Let's have this powwow. Let's discuss and have just, a nice fluid conversation, a nice, dialogue about what you need. And I think that soliciting your input for the tech enhancement program kind of helps foster that conversation.
Absolutely.
So anytime that you want to use the Zoom meeting, you absolutely can. All you have to do is, it would not be unlike reserving a conference room at work or reserving a community meeting room at the library. All you have to do is email me that request. And what I would do is I would immediately go into Zoom, schedule it, make you the chairperson, and then I just step out of the way. I don't even need to attend. So, but I don't like the word gatekeeper, but that's the best phrase I can think of. I'm kind of the gatekeeper or the steward of the Zoom meeting room. So
Cool.
think of me as like, that secretary at work where you had to reserve the meeting space with that secretary. I'm that secretary. So
Perfect. That's great. I will definitely do some type of a District 5 community hours thing while it's cold out, because, and just with the COVID surge, I feel like I would be more comfortable doing some type of a Zoom event with neighbors in the next month or two.
yeah, well, I I don't even know what to expect for my community meeting tonight, but we'll see. We'll see, but
Yours is on Zoom as well, right?
yeah, this is the first meeting I've had post-COVID. Well, not post-COVID, because that kind of sounds like I had it, but but since COVID
It's community onset.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, um,
Well, that definitely takes care of one of my tech needs, which is great.
well, looking at the, let's see, let me get this. So I've talked a lot about, I had a great one-on-one with Ty. And I think that, it's been a little overwhelming for him this year, just because his role has stepped up dramatically with all of this, because we are trying to leverage social media and bring the website up to speed. That's always a work in progress, and trying to do all of that. And I think he's very happy to have your help, and he's very happy to have Brian's help. He's receiving that with open arms. But I think that, with regard to feeding him content, I think he could use some help there.
Okay.
I think that just making sure, I pass content along, when I get my emails from Catherine Call, the community neighborhood updates, that kind of thing. Or, if it's just, it's not very often that we do have those, things, meeting agendas, zoning and variance, CAC, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's all he does. But, the thing that I've worked with Ty on is that I've got him now to where for every CAC related meeting, he now has an event created on our Facebook page, which really helps. So one of the conversations that I had with him in his one-on-one is, I said, did you know that as a page administrator for a community organization page, you can actually pull up in the settings of that page in your dashboard, and you can actually schedule posted content 30 days out. He didn't know that. So I pulled up my real estate page, and I showed him. I said, here's how I would post scheduled content for,
yes.
I know this listing is being onboarded on this date. I'll have an open house on this date. And I can just sit down 2 weeks ahead of time and have it all be automated. And I can just,
It's so much easier than trying to do everything real time and constantly. Yeah, I do that on my commissioner page, which doesn't have a ton of followers, but I do that on my commissioner page with the community update content. I try to schedule it out so that I'm not just posting a bunch of things in one day and bombarding people's feeds and being annoying.
Yeah. It's really tough not being annoying for me. So I don't know if that would help, but yeah, that's something that I think was an aha moment for him. And when I screen shared, I kind of saw him kind of get up the Facebook page, and he was kind of pulling that up, and he was kind of mirroring what I was doing. And I don't think he knew that. And to be honest with you, a lot of people are just trying to avoid social media right now in a politically intense environment. And just taking some time away from it. I get that. So, I get, but the more we can cross post and get people to, and I showed him, I said, right now we have the creation of a YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Channel Clintonville. We should, there's videos on there from the booster, from, Kevin Parks used to take videos, and when he'd write about it, and then he'd do this for the website. And here's some stuff where we've made the news, and you should be promoting the YouTube channel, because everything we do is going to be on there. Now, I think that, Channel Clintonville, that's just something that I came up with because I thought, oh, how do we channel Clintonville and be able to use a YouTube station? And it was just kind of like, like Channel Clintonville,
Yeah.
I'll name it. And I went on to GoDaddy and I saw if the URL was available and snagged it up. But, it's being creative and finding creative solutions like that, but then you've got to be able to promote it and tell people that it exists. Because right now with the COVID-19 protocol, we're more transparent than ever. Because we have to be, because they said if you want to have virtual meetings, you have to post an agenda 48 hours. See, there was never any standard before that said we had to post an agenda. Now we do.
Yeah.
We always had to make our meetings, date, time, and place known, and we always had to publish those, but nobody said we had to publish an agenda. Well, now we have to publish an agenda.
Yeah.
Now we have to record all of our meetings and retain those on archive, which is really the whole purpose about creating the YouTube channel, is so that we could do that. But I mean, I don't know if you get the booster app, but like in the past year, there have been very little articles written about Clintonville.
The Spotlight covers it every month.
Well,
about Clintonville in general, you mean in the booster?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I thought you meant the commission for a second.
No. About Clintonville in general. Like I'll open it up and it'll be like, stuff about Westerville. Here, fantasy, first page, Fantasy of Lights. Okay, that's Delaware.
Yeah.
You go through it and there's nothing in there about Clintonville. There's no Clintonville news. There's no CAC article.
Recap or...
There's nothing. It's all Westerville, Powell, Delaware. So we can't rely on the booster.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I had for Chair Heckner is I said, how can we, like about the election process, how can we get more enthusiasm, more engagement? And she said, everything we can do, we've done. And short of going out and standing on High Street and tripping people, bring it to their attention. I mean,
yeah.
And really, I think that the time that people engage the most is when they have something to complain about. Hence the rain gardens, hence the white-tailed urban deer. So to get people engaged in processes and wanting them to, participate in committees and everything, I'm open to hearing all of that. But, I don't know how enhancing our technology. I mean, you can't force a person to, it's kind of.
I know. Well, I'm happy to help with content and push things Ty's way that I see, wherever appropriate. And if there are other things, if he needs just bandwidth wise too, like I'm comfortable with social media and happy to help. So, I'm happy to be a resource if he feels overwhelmed at any point. And I mean, frankly, my whole experience with CAC has been COVID. So I only know this version
Okay.
so far.
I'm going to screen share with you for a quick minute.
Okay.
And we're going to go over the tech enhancement application. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like you to kind of tell me what would, provided these options for the $2,200 allocation, what would be your choices? What would you select and why?
So can I ask, because I haven't attended CAC meetings at the library in the past, if we end up back there, hopefully in 2021, did we have any type of a display monitor there? Is there anything that we've used in the past?
Yes, what they have is they actually have an overhead projector.
Okay.
Wi-Fi, HMDI cable. They have all of that. What they don't have that I've heard other committee chairs and other commissioners mention is I have heard, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I just remembered something. Sorry.
It's okay.
Let me write this down. I'm an old lady, I'll forget it.
You're fine. You're totally fine. I should have mentioned at the outset, I do have
No,
a
that's
1 o'clock.
prompted me to check for this. I have to write this down or I'll forget. Okay. But what they don't have that's been requested is a webcam and a microphone. So that, having a projector and a projection screen, a lot of people have mentioned wanting those. And, not so much the computer or the laptop or the monitor.
Yeah.
Some people have requested Microsoft Office Suite, but the two prevailing requests have been the projector and the projector screen.
Yeah.
Along those same lines is Commissioner Votero said, well, let's say that we are back to having in-person meetings. He's wholeheartedly saying we should continue with having the virtual meetings because he feels that even with the in-person meetings that we might want to carry this new routine. We might want to carry this forward because he just thinks it's a good idea. And he says, and for that community engagement, we want to be able to have a webcam and a microphone for those attending, be able to cast to do a video cast rather than just have the Brady Bunch screen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Which after he mentioned that, I was like, it would seem to me that rather than have a 20-inch or 24-inch display monitor, it would seem to me that those monies could better be spent with a webcam and a microphone.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I like, unless there's a downside that I'm not seeing, I do like the idea of having our meetings available online post in-person transition, hopefully sometime in the near future of life. But
it's kind of like it's not the new normal, but it might be an adaptable best practice to be all inclusive. So for those, we're all about aging in place, and we're all about, taking, everybody into, an inclusiveness and wanting to engage a broader sense of the community. To me, I think that does that. I can honestly say before I was a commissioner, I didn't go to every Clintonville Area Commission meeting. There were times at the end of the day, I was so tired. I'd gone up and down so many flights of stairs or in and out of my car. My feet hurt. I just tired. Maybe it was just too cold outside. I just didn't want to, sometimes when you're home for the day, you're home for the day.
Yeah.
You just don't want to go back out. And there were times where I was just a naysayer and I didn't want to go to a commission meeting. But I think that I think if we give one more medium, one more avenue that people can select to come to a meeting, then we ought to continue it. And I think that was Commissioner Votero's point. And he was like, I think when we do this, if we are able to resume in-person meetings, then I think that whoever the treasurer and whoever the chair is next year, be able to bring into discussion a budgetary allowance for a webcam and a microphone.
I'm supportive. Yeah. I like that idea a lot.
And I don't know how we can do that. I'm pretty sure we can get like a little, I'm sure it's not that pricey. I'm sure it's not that pricey. Technology's cheap now. And I'll tell you, I have a projector and a projection screen. I paid $400 for my projector and I paid $100 for my screen. So, where they come up with 620, 480 and 1047, I don't know. It must be one humdinger of a projector kit.
Yeah.
But
or maybe a preferred vendor of some sort. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we know how those go. But here's the thing, that the complication with this is that, I think it'll be up to the chair. I don't know, but there's going to be stewardship. So who's going to store this laptop, or who's going to store the projector, or who's going to store this? And then when that projector bulb burns out, and I'll tell you, my $400 projector to get a replacement bulb is $90. So, you know,
quarter of the price. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be, so I think we will have to bring into discussion some type of maintenance budget, some cost maintenance related to the replacement of a projector bulb, if the projector is what we decide to go forward with. But the beauty in on that, I think that's a small price to pay, because think about how self-reliant having this technology is to us. And if that library, now granted, you never attended a meeting in the library.
Yeah.
Even without having
once.
well, so having this, you know, opens up the realm of possibilities, because there were times that we did have special meetings, like about the Ave, when that went under construction, the community meeting room. Now, this is before I was on the commission, but I went to that meeting, and the people who were showing up there was probably 100 people at that meeting. And so that library community meeting room is at capacity at like 40, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I do story time, it's already pretty.
Yeah. So you've been there, you know the room. It's a great room, and it's well equipped, and the Wi-Fi is always reliable and everything else. But this will make us more self-sufficient and self-reliant, and to be able to take our own technology kit and caboodle to other places. What's more is that in the times, like my very first, you'll like this one, Brittany, my very first commission meeting was the rain garden, was in July of 2017, where Libby scheduled, the prevailing topic was rain gardens. And we knew the community meeting room at the library wasn't going to be big enough. So she reached out to me. She's like, do you know an alternate place? And I said, Clintonville Women's Club. And that place was packed. Every chair that they had, every folding chair was brought up and it was occupied, and there were people standing around the edges. So, but we didn't have a projector or a screen or any of it. But so I think that, you know, I think that this really warrants some good conversation how we would use it.
So, I am so sorry. I just realized it's 1:03 and I have a 1 o'clock Zoom as well. No, I'm sorry.
No. We'll wrap it up. Hey, thank you for your input, Brittany. I appreciate you.
Yes, I support the projector, and if folks need Office, I support that as well. I have it, so I don't need it, but I'm supportive of
Sorry about that. I didn't even notice the time.
No, I didn't either. I got the little bloop bloop on my calendar. Thank you, BJ.
Bye.
I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you too. Bye-bye.